Well, thank you for taking the time and including me in this. I really appreciate it. Not Okay is excellent. And I thought you and Zoey were just great in the film. So congratulations on another winner.
Thanks. Yeah. Really appreciate that.
No problem. So let's start at the beginning-ish. I know you and Zoey worked together before on The Outfit, which,
yes.
By the way, if people are listening, this is for a podcast. So shout out to The Outfit because it's such a solid little crime thriller that came out last year. And
cool. Thanks.
Really check that out. It's so good.
Thanks. People go see it. People need to see it.
Rylance, Pitt, you and Zoey, all of it.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. I keep getting texts. It's a big plane movie.
Yeah. It's one of those things.
Watched it on the plane. I passed out to it. I'm like, yeah. At least you saw it. Yeah.
That's. I don't know if that's a compliment, but either way, hopefully Not Okay gets them through the whole thing. Zoey, so you guys worked together on that. How did this job come to you? Was that did one of these beget the other, or how did Not Okay happen?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I remember Zoey bringing this up to me actually, like when we were working together, not for like me to, we were just talking about like what we had coming up and things we were excited about. And I remember her actually mentioning this Searchlight movie that she was like really excited about with this, talented young writer director. And then like it was, 6 or so months later, I think that then I got the script and met with Quinn, and then was sort of just like texting with Zoey along the side of that. And then I think one day I just texted her and was like, hey, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do your movie. We're going to do another thing together. That's kind of how it happened.
And obviously she's like, well, he smokes tons of weed, so he's perfect for this role. Because it's, I mean, Weed Boi Colin, is that your handle in this?
Yeah, I know.
Ridiculous.
So I had no hand making that up either.
But it looks like, for a part, I mean, some things you're coming in and you're going to be, carrying things on your shoulders. It's going to be a heavy part. This thing seems like it would be a really fun thing to step in and do. Like, totally. The comedic energy of a dumb narcissist is just my favorite thing.
Yeah. So much fun. I mean, I had to do, none of the work and carrying any of the load and just all of the ridiculous shit. It's funny because, it's like there was a whole part of the movie that I that I'm not a part of, that I wasn't there and witness to too, and it's such a huge, is the core of the film. So it was such an interesting thing sort of being there for the days that I was there on, but then always just kind of going like, I wonder how that's going, the whole the movie, and when I saw it, I was like so blown away. I was just, like, cause I mean, Mia and Zoey are just both so incredible and like really, really carry the movie. And I think just like they make it grounded, they make it really work. Cause I think it doesn't, it can sort of, it has this like heightened satirical sort of way into it. Right. Which is great, but it can't like rely on that. It was always if it was really gonna like work and be kind of like, powerful, like those two, performances are so key, and they're just like both so incredible in the movie. And like what Quinn did is just so amazing. So I got to just like watch it, as if it was so fresh. It was such a fresh and like objective watch for me almost, because I'm barely in it.
Oh, you're at least, even when you're not in it, you're a presence in it, which is pretty hilarious. Like you're always like texting her or doing weird things, or she's obsessed with you. But as far as the character himself, how much of him was like on the page versus like, you come in and the tattoos and the constant vaping and all that stuff? Was that all there, or were you like adding to it as you go?
Yeah, I mean, I think a mix of both. I think the vaping was literally like scripted. Like that was from day one. I was gonna be, constantly blowing vape smoke, and like the tats and the hair and everything. That just all came from like texting with Quinn once I was like signed on. So I think one of our first sort of text exchanges was just kind of like. Well, first I like sent her just like a tape of me talking, because I just wanted to make sure that like it was what you wanted, or in like the vicinity of what you wanted. And then we just kind of started like just having fun with like, I was like, I think I should be like covered in tats, like we can't hold back. And she was like 100%, So then just like everything kind of was just built for me, truly. I mean, it was literally just like stepping into this like Halloween costume and kind of having this freedom to then just kind of be this ridiculous character.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's extremely shallow. He's fame obsessed. But that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
it's a commentary on all this fame obsessed influencer culture, but how do you try to like ride the line? Because it is a tightrope walk. You have to ride the line of humanizing them a little bit, but not too much where you're like starting to like be obsessed with Weed Boi Colin, that kind of thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing's such a tightrope walk, you know, like tonally. And yeah, I mean, I thought like, you know, it's interesting to have this sort of, I think when I was shooting, like I thought he was just such a dickhead in like so many ways, but it's interesting to sort of get lost in that in a way that he is sort of like that's exactly what he is. He's a dude who just like got completely lost in this like persona that he like created for himself, you know? And that's, I think, more so what it's kind of experimenting with or framing, you know, it's like, I don't think like any of these people, you know, I don't think like Dani, you know, Zoe's character or like Colin is, you know, I don't think at one point maybe too, they weren't like a bad person. I think if anything, like, Colin was absolutely like, just like borderline nerd in high school. I don't even think he was a nerd. He was just like a boring kid in high school. And then he just sort of like adopted all of these, you know, things that are completely inauthentic to like who he is. You know, I think he's just like a plain boring kid from Maine. And like, you know, with Dani, you know, I mean, it's just getting swept up in sort of it's almost like it's not their fault. You know what I mean? Like, that's the interesting piece of it. It's like, where do you draw the line between like the choices that a person's sort of making or like, you know, or the person that they're becoming when it's all just sort of a part of this machine that they had no part of creating. They're just trying to keep up with.
Yeah. And then, like you were saying, there's Zoe, there's her performance, there's the high wire act of the film itself. And she's doing the thing where you have to hate her and then you have to feel for her at the same time by the time the movie's finishing. What's it like, you know, working with Zoe as number one on the call sheet? What does she bring to set? That kind of thing.
Oh, I mean, like she runs the whole show. Yeah, I mean, like her and Quinn were just, you know, they ran this thing from the get-go. I mean, Zoe's just, you know, it's twice now that I've gotten to work with her. And like from the first time from our first experience together, like I really quickly noticed just how truly hardworking she is, which is just not, and that's not disingenuous at all. Like she's really, truly like one of the hardest working people I've ever like been around, you know. I think she just like, you know, even when like if I'm doing one project, I can like only focus on that one project without it, you know, if I have any shot at being like remotely, you know, doing anything remotely good in it, you know. And Zoe's constantly doing like 10 things at once. It's insane. Not just like work like projects, like she also like, you know, does like classes and lends such time to like the people like in her life too, and you know, like her relationships. She like constantly nurtures like everything. It's like amazing all the things that she is constantly sort of getting done. And like I don't think she sleeps. And she's like wickedly smart, you know, as a producer, you know, too, and as an actor, you know. So she's just sort of this she's kind of this, you know, really young, like powerful sort of baller and wearer of multiple hats, like on set. You know, she's kind of running everything. It's incredible.
So future director there, possibly.
Yeah, if she wants. I mean, she can do anything she wants.
So if you allow me a hard right turn here, I am a big fan of yours all the way back to Teen Wolf, you know, shout out to Styles. But, you know, I was super happy and surprised by how delightful Love and Monsters was. That came out a couple years back. I feel like it was this little success story in the COVID streaming era, but I'm not entirely sure, like, because they never really shared metrics about success or anything like that.
I know. I'm not really either. Yeah.
Yeah. Has there been any interest in like sequelizing that or not?
Oh, Love and Monster.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that movie so much. So yeah, I'd love to. And thank you so much for saying that. It's like, I love when that movie gets a shout because it was just kind of
such heart with that movie.
Yeah, I really. Yeah, I mean, I'm so proud of that film. Sequelizing, yeah. First of all, great word. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, no, I have no idea.
Fair enough.
You know, there hasn't been much conversation about it, so you know, but things can sort of overnight become a conversation, or I don't know, who knows? But I would be. I know everyone I think involved would be so game because everybody really like adored working on that, you know.
Yeah, it's a really fun, heartfelt movie. And, you know, I mean, you've gotten a lot of those roles where it's like really big heart. I don't know, that just probably comes out of you, but you're also one of those actors that's just really beloved by the fan community, which goes all the way back to Teen Wolf and Styles and all that. You know, for whatever reason, fan casting starts happening and Dylan O'Brien does come up often. I know Nightwing's a big one that people keep shouting you out for. I feel like you've been in the conversation for a couple of roles maybe, but I'm wondering where you're at as far as like these big superhero parts go. Do you want to land one, or would you rather chase, you know, more character acting kind of roles?
You know, look, I always say like, I mean, I don't actually rule out anything. You know, so it's not like I wouldn't entertain it if something came my way, and if it was like with like a really like talented filmmaker that I was desperate to like work with, or, you know, and it was a really cool like take on the part, or, you know, I don't know. I don't rule anything out, certainly, but I do think that I lean more towards wanting to sort of find these sort of smaller character-y roles for myself, just because truly, like, you know, it'd been a long time. You know, I really just like hadn't gotten many chances to do that. So it's just more, I think, just for now, at least right now, kind of fulfilling to me to be experimenting like with that, you know, and challenging myself in that way. But that could just be for now. Everything changes. I don't know how I'll feel in, you know, 5 or 10 years, or, you know, or who knows.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not closed off, I'd say, to anything. I don't think it behooved me to ever fully just like close anything off. So I'm open to it all.
For sure. And you know, with those big character roles, there's a lot of like great storytelling, great character work on these like streaming miniseries or the TV format.
Yeah.
And I notice that you've kind of gotten away, you've dipped your toe a little bit, you know, since Teen Wolf, but would you ever want to step into like a that format again? Because you've been doing a lot of films lately.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, it's like you know, depends on what it would be. And I'm certainly not closed off to it. I think, you know, coming off the show, that was sort of like initially consistent. My first job and my first, you know, like 7 years of my career, you know, pretty much. I think I definitely was sort of just dipping into, you know, shorter commitment things, you know, just I think for my life right now, that's just kind of a more fitting thing for me. But yeah, I mean, I mean, there's, like you say, like so many of the good, there's just so much content right now, so much good content too, and especially in like limited and ongoing series. So I'm not opposed at all. Awesome. Not opposed at all, you know.
I did see that you were working, or possibly working with, you never know with IMDb, but possibly working with Ike Barinholtz and Scott MacArthur on Maximum Truth, I believe it was called.
Yeah, yep.
I'm a fan of those guys because they're hilarious.
Me too, yeah.
So is that already shot, and what can you kind of tease about that film and who you play?
That film is sort of this like experimental, you know, really, really low budget kind of political satire, like in a mock-you style format.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I've been a fan of Ike's for like such a long time. I just think he like is so smart and always just like steals everything like I see him in, you know. And it was a script that he and his partner Dave Stassen wrote together, and sort of loosely based on these real life guys, and sort of like, you know, very loosely based on these real life guys. And nothing really to tease. I don't also have any idea what the plan is for it, or when you'd be able to see it. But yeah, it was really fun to do, and I loved working with, like, he's like one of those guys that you work with, and the in-person sort of version of him like makes your opinion of him just grow that much more, you know what I mean, in like such a positive way. He's just such a great guy, and like and he's just so incredible to work with. He's so funny, he's so brilliant.
Yeah, and a lot of improv and stuff with
yeah
which you got to do. I mean, you got to do Curb. Let's be real on that. So you got to do, which, I mean, if you're going to do some improv, that is like the height of it, basically. So how was that experience playing like this alternate version of yourself working with Larry?
Yeah, well, it was a really cool, I mean, it was really cool, obviously. But it was a cool way to get to do it, because like that for me has always been really, I don't know, like a part of my sense of humor naturally anyway. Like I love the sort of like alternate, you know, alter ego version of yourself, or like taking the piss out of your own self, I guess, is something I like lean into like instinctively anyway. Like I just find it funny and fun to do, and it's such a comfortable like set to come into too. I think like it can go so many different ways. It can be so intimidating. It could be so it could be really uncomfortable to step onto those sets sometimes. Comedy can be such an intense atmosphere. It can be, it looks all like so funny and fun, but like behind the scenes, sometimes it's like really insane. And there's just like a lot of egos and like, so you never know. You don't know what you're walking into. And it was just the coolest experience. It was just such a blast, so easy and comfortable. And Larry's just like so nice and like knows exactly like what he wants. And he, allows you to like succeed. He's so supportive. Like he's not the only one who can get a laugh in the room. You know what I mean? Like, so it was just like, could not have been more of a pleasure, which I was really happy with too. Cause I did, obviously you want that experience to be a positive one to look back on.
Yeah. Yeah. And those episodes are fantastic and all the dogs and all that stuff, but it's fantastic. But they are giving me the wrap. So I've taken up enough of your time. As I said at the top, Not Okay is great. And for our listeners, premieres on Hulu on Friday, July 29th. Dylan, thanks so much, man.
Dude, thank you so much. You were a pleasure. Thank you.